When we talk about capital budgeting, it is a most important finance function in the modern times. For any firm, a capital budgeting decision can either make a company or even can break a company. It's that much important. So it's very important for any finance individual to have a basic understanding of capital budgeting decision. So whenever you get this term like capital budgeting decision, then most importantly, one thing that should strike your mind that we are talking about some big amount of funds which a firm will be utilizing over a particular decision. For example, like any company has a sale of a division of or goes for a business divestment, and one of the particular product is removed from its business cycle, then that particular decision is an investment decision. Similarly, like you might be aware about certain decisions, like if any firm goes from sale of its uh, like they were selling their products offline and now they decided to go completely online, so they have changed their sales distribution model. So this is one of the important capital budgeting decision a firm would take. Similarly, like if for any firm, advertising campaigns are also one of the most important part of their finance functions. So now if they decide like they will go from newspapers to like YouTube videos, and they will start doing the budget, like they will allocate a particular fund towards YouTube advertisements. So that's a change in a capital decisions which will be utilized over the next working cycle of the company. So these are the decisions which are really important for a company. So we're going to talk about in this video. So let's go and explore this statement. Like capital budgeting decisions commit the firm's funds to the long-term assets. This is really a big statement, I must say, because it involves two major things you will find out, which is firm's funds and the second is long-term assets. When we talk about firm's funds, then as you know, like every company has a model in which they decide like this much amount of fund will be invested in these assets, right? So when we talk about long-term assets, then these are those that affect the firm's operations beyond the 1 year period. So all those assets which are going to affect the firm's operation beyond the 1 year period, we say them as long-term assets. So all those decisions which commits the firm that these are the funds which will be executed on these long-term assets are the capital budgeting decision. Now, if you are going to define it, then what will be the statement that you can make? Then we can say a capital budgeting decision may be defined as the firm's decision to invest its current funds most efficiently in the long-term assets in the anticipation of an expected flow of benefits over a series of years. For example, I am currently working on my YouTube channel and I decide as a company, like if I say my XYZ company decides that we are going to acquire one YouTube channel. So that's a capital budgeting decision for me, but there is a reasoning behind that. Like if I go and acquire another finance related channel, then it's going to help me bring about more subscribers over the years, so that and overall they are going to impact my overall cash flows, because there would be some cash flow coming up from the channel that I am going to acquire it. So in a similar way, acquisitions do happen in the firms. We all see one firm acquires another firm. So these are the capital budgeting decisions, and it's not only limited to acquisition. This could be like expansion, this could be like modernization, this could be like replacement. Like previously you must have like if you remember, before the origin of computers, they were completely, the accounting system was on the piece of papers. There were numerous registers which were filled by the accountants. There were no Excel sheets there. But when the company would have decided, okay, that we are going from this offline mode to an online mode where all the accounting will be done over in Excel, over a spreadsheet, then that was a capital budgeting decision that the firm must have taken. Okay, that we are going towards modernization, and we are also going towards a replacement where all the acquisition stage, all the existing station will be replaced by the high tech computers. So that was a capital budgeting decision that every firm took, right? So I hope you are getting a better picture of a capital budgeting decision which firm usually takes. Now let's talk about some of the features of capital budgeting decision. For example, whenever we talk about some decisions, like we go for an acquisition, then always we talk about the future benefits. Like I just gave an example, like if I go and acquire some other YouTube channel, then I'm also talking about about the future benefits I would be reaping by that acquisition. But what will be the exchange? I would be giving them the funds. Whoever the owner of that YouTube channel might be, so he will be receiving some funds from me. Then only I'm going to acquire his channel, right? So the exchange of current funds for future benefits. Then the second is the funds are invested in long-term assets. When we are going as a firm, we invest in the long-term assets. All those firms' operations which are going to be affected for over a period of time, over 1 year period of time, most importantly. And third, the future benefits will occur to the firm over a series of years. So, whenever we are going to take a capital budgeting decision, we cannot expect that there would be short term benefits coming up. No, we're going to talk about the long term benefits. Whenever, for example, a firm decides, okay, they're going to build near about, say, 30 kilometers of road, a construction company decides this decision, okay, they're going to build and going to go for a tender, and if they get the tender, they're going to build one road. But are they going to get the fund instantly? Are they going to get the benefits instantly? No, there is a procedure that the government would be installing different tolls, and over the years they'll be reaping benefits, for example, say for 10 years, for 15 years. So all those tolls taxes will be coming as a cash flow benefit to the company who actually built that road. So so we can understand capital budgeting decision in much more examples. There are numerous examples that I can tell you, but I guess these examples would have given you a fair picture of what I'm trying to explain to you. Now, talking about the importance of capital budgeting decisions. So, you can see on your screen that we are talking about growth, risk, funding, and irreversibility. When I say growth, whenever a firms take a capital budgeting decisions, they have in their mind that it's going to influence the firm's growth in the long run. They're going to have their benefits. So we were talking about the growth of the firm. That's why we're taking this decision now by using our current funds now so that we can reap the growth benefits over the years. Second, we are going to talk about the risk. Every growth, every return that comes is always associated with risk. What if those projected cash flows doesn't turn out to be true, and those cash flows never come back? So it might affect the risk of the complete firm. If you have taken a wrong capital budgeting decision, you may even end up going bankrupt if you have taken a wrong capital budgeting decision. So there are numerous examples in the world where you can see a firm going uh, taking a capital budgeting decision and ending up to bankruptcy. Like in India, you might have heard about Reliance Communications. What happened to that firm? They're bankrupt. Ambanis were the name in the top uh, richest persons in in the world, but one of the brother got bankrupt, and his net worth is zero. So that's the best example that even the billionaires turn out to be a bankrupt when they end up taking a wrong capital budgeting decision. So it really affects the risk of the firm. This is really important. And third, we talk about the funding. Whenever we talk about capital budgeting, we it involves commitment of large amount of funds. We're not talking about some thousands. We're talking about hundreds and hundred thousands, lakhs and crores in India, or we're talking about the millions of dollars. So it's a big amount, big chunk of fund talking about. Then we talk about the irreversibility. Whenever such decisions are taken, then it's really decisions are really complex, and you cannot take it back, because once taken, once you have invested those funds, you cannot take it back. And if you go and take it back, then it brings to bring a substantial loss to your firm. So mostly, like, there was one research conducted, and uh, and it was found that 95% of the companies find it difficult to step back from one capital budgeting decision that they have taken. They can't take back that decision, whereas 5% of the companies find it comfortably, like, okay, if they have even taken, but because they have a big pockets, big chunk of funds are lying in their balance sheet as cash, they can go ahead and they can manage. Okay, not an issue, we can just reverse this decision. So it depends upon the firm's working cash flow, as well as the amount of cash component is lying in the balance sheet, whether to make a decision that once they have taken capital budgeting decision, they can reverse it or not, because these are really complex. And that's why the capital budgeting decisions are said to be among the most difficult decisions for any firm to make. So I hope you were able to understand capital budgeting decision. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, then I would suggest that you should subscribe it, since I'm going to bring about in the next video a complete detailed video on like different types of capital budgeting decisions, mutually exclusive investments. We're going to talk about expansion, diversification, replacement, modernization, as well as we're going to talk about mutually exclusive investments, like what's the purpose of those, as well as we're going to talk about independent investments and contingent investments. So in the next video, I'm going to cover up all these things. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, then please subscribe it. Thank you for watching, and share this piece of knowledge with your friends, whoever wants to get enlightened about capital budgeting decisions. Thanks for your time, and have a nice day ahead.